Well, good morning and welcome to today's Facebook Live. My name's Jenny McCormack and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm coming to you from Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire in the centre of England in the UK. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's going to be a very warm day again today. We had threats of thunderstorms yesterday, but nothing actually happened. And what I'd like to do is continue with this stamp set today, Colour and Contour. And because Stampin' Up is an American company, this is why you'll see the word colour spelt without the U. I do try and put both versions in. If you're looking for a particular stamp set, then it might only come up with colour spelt like that. So in my descriptions, I do try and put both versions in so that you're more likely to be able to find it. So good morning, Kerry, or good evening to you. Morning, Kate, Lynn, Jeanette, and Carol. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let me just show you briefly what we did yesterday. So I opened this stamp set yesterday for the first time, and these were the cards that I made yesterday, just trying the stamp set out for the first time. So I did some stamping of the components, and I do always like to do that, as I explained yesterday, so you can see exactly how things will stamp and whether there's any particular technique to stamping them. One of the things I learned, if you want a more exact match with this stamp here, is I actually marked my stamps with a marker pen. Let me just pop that on there if you can see that. So these two little dots here indicate this is the petal, and that marries with this one here that I put the dot on. I'm not sure that you can see that really, sorry, in the light. And that also matches the die, and I'm going to use the die today. So just to make it easier for lining up, I've got two stamps and the die with the little marker indicating that particular petal and where it's going to connect. So that was something I did yesterday, and it's always worth doing if you can while you have time. There's nothing more frustrating than getting a new stamp set out for a particular card and then struggling to make it do what you want it to do, just because there may be a particular technique that works better with some cards than others. So let me briefly show you the cards. There's this one here. We stamped the little daisy stamp 3 times. I added this little leaf in here and one of the sentiments here for you now. And then obviously you've got to bling up the envelope with the stamp as well. And then this one here, a very simple thank you card, stamped in early espresso, added the detail with Highland heather. I love these little dots, so useful on a stamp set. You can use it to cover a multitude of sins. And it also gives a nice soft background. The sentiment comes from the set as well, thank you for everything, which I think is lovely. And then I just finished those off with some pearls, pastel pearls. Couldn't think of the word for a minute. So those are the cards yesterday, and these are note card and envelope size, so they're 3.5 inches by 5 inches. Okay, so today I'm going to be using 2 of the dies from the die set, and the die set is called Scallop Contours, and as you can see it features these lovely frames, and you see me use these frames over and over again. It also has a die for each of the flowers, and it has this beautiful scallop edge, and that's what I'm going to use today. So what I've done is I've got 2 pieces of our designer paper in the new in colours. I actually put them together and ran them through the machine at the same time, and the dots come out perfectly. These are 6 by 6 inches, so I've cut this in half so that I can get 2 cards out of each sheet. Obviously I've got 2 different colours, and what I'm going to do is place this onto a white card, add a sentiment, and then add die cut flowers here up on the left hand side. This card was inspired by a lady called Cindy Elam. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. I believe she's in America. I might have got that wrong. I saw one of her samples on her website, and I thought this is a really pretty design. So this is from our In Colour papers, and it's funny that I've chosen the same design, but I'm going to use 2 different sides. There are 2 patterns in here, and it's bizarre that I should choose the same one, but I hadn't really realised. Let me just see what Kerry is saying. Yes, I think it would, Kerry, exactly. And I thought the same actually of the stamp set I used last week. I thought that would be stunning in Cherry Cobbler for a Christmas card. So yes, I think that would definitely work as a Christmas card. So this one is Pale Papaya. This one is Polished Pink, but looking around my desk, I can't actually, oh maybe I can see my Polished Pink ink. There we go. It's this one here. So I'm going to do one of each and maybe sort of chop and change the design slightly. So let's do Pale Papaya first. Let me clear these out of the way. Put them somewhere I might find them again. So when I say to you, where have I put those? They're on the right hand side. Okay, so this is 6 inches wide, and obviously that's wider than our card. So what I'm going to do is, because the scallop is not quite 6 inches, there's a little edge here where I've literally just torn the edge. So what I'm going to do is just make sure that I centralise that and put it down, and then trim the sides off. Okay, so let's pop some wet glue on here. So I hope everybody is well this morning. We had thunder, but we didn't really have any rain last night. I know Lynn, who's down the road and watching this morning, had rain because she posted a photograph of, yes, a video of it raining, but we didn't get any of that. Okay, so let me take my glasses off so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm just positioning this right at the top of my card. So this is a standard sized A6 card. Just want to centralise that on there. Now I could have cut this to size first, but I just wanted to get it die cut. So it's just cut along there, and as you can see, I've got a little bit of excess here and a very tiny amount there. So I'm just going to trim that. Just reach my trimmer. Okay, so this is the other 3-inch piece, okay, of those 2. So it'll make another set of cards. So I'm going to turn this over, line this up in my track of my trimmer. You could also just use a pair of scissors to snip that little bit off if you wanted to. Like so. And this bit here is barely noticeable. It's not even half a millimetre. So I'm not even sure. Oh, perhaps I will just trim it. So again, putting this right on the edge of the track. Yeah, so little there. Okay. Right, so let's fold that in. Grab my bone folder. So say that's just an A4 piece of card. scored down the center and then cut into 2 pieces. So I'm going to put my sentiment on next, because then I can build my card around the sentiment, and I'm going to use early espresso with it. I think those two work really nicely, plus, as you know, it's one of my favorites. So I'm going to use You're Absolutely Amazing. I did intend to use the thank you, but I think it's going to be a little bit too tight on here. So this is going on the right hand side, like so. Love it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp and cut out some flowers from a piece of basic white card. So this is my outline. So I'm just wondering, I can't quite decide whether to do it in espresso or not, so let me do a couple. So I'm going to put this with my dot roughly at the bottom, so that when I come to do the inside and the die cutting, it'll line up as close as. I might do that in pumpkin, which is what I did yesterday, but let's have a look and see. So this is the inner, the infill, and I've got 2 dots either side because I couldn't stamp on the middle piece there. So just inking that up and lining that up. It's not an exact infill. Okay, so if you don't like that style, you could use your marker pen or blends pens to fill it in. What I would say is that because it's sort of loosely hand drawn, can you see it isn't a complete petal in every case, it's sort of open, so you know, you just got to relax and go with the flow for that. I think I'm going to pop some centers in here. So this is Pale Papaya. Let's try Mango Melody. That's what I had for yesterday, I think. Thank you, Kate. Hello, Dee. Thanks for joining us. And Katie. So I'm just going to add this in. It's a slightly different tone. And obviously you can add glitter and all sorts. Now I've got 2. I wonder if I need 3. Let's do 3 and then I can choose. Sorry everybody. So just going to stamp that. May only use 1 after all that, but there we go. So I'm just going to stamp this in here. And I do like the way it has some shading in there. Let's pop that in the middle. Then what I'm going to do is die cut these out. And then add them to this layer here. Okay, so let me just trim this down. And obviously, having stamped that one, I could die cut that ready for something else, like so. And then this is the die that I'm going to cut them out with, and I've put my dot on the bottom, so that should match this sort of double petal down here. That's what I focused on. Doesn't matter where you focus it, as long as you do it the same right the way through. So I'm just going to use my mini cut and emboss machine to cut these out. So I'm wondering whether you've got cold drinks next to you, ladies, or tea and coffee, I wonder. Let's start from this end. So I say I'm not sure if I'm going to use all of them or not, but it won't take very long to cut them out. through. Sorry, all you can see is my hand, isn't it? There we go. So do tell me what you're drinking. So again, positioning that dot I've created in the same place, give or take. So I have had a coffee this morning, but I shall probably have a cold drink after this. It's heating up in the craft room, I have to say. There we go. Let's just offset that. Right, so that's my 3 pieces die cut. Not losing that. Jeanette's got tea, Kate's got coffee. Oh, too cold for poor Kerry, bless her. Oh, and Kate's coffee and cards, so she's card making too. Bless you, Kate. Okay, so I've got 3 of those, like so. So there's lots of different ways you could do this. You could do, that's quite nice actually, with a bunch of 3, like so. Now what Cindy did was she had some of those dots going across here, which I think would be quite nice. So if I stamp them in pale papaya, I could have some here and then some up at the top without it being too obvious. So let's grab those. It's good to see some more stamp sets with dots, because the Quiet Meadow that I'm using for class this month also has a large one with dots and this lovely background. So it's good to see some of those back. I think personally, I think we've been lacking some texture stamps, so it's nice to see these come back. Right, I'm just going to test this on here. Make sure it isn't covered in ink from yesterday. Okay, so this is pale papaya again. So what I'm going to do is pop one on here, like so. And then I know this will be covered up to an extent, but I just want to put it there in the background. Obviously with your patterned paper, it's not really obvious. If you had plain paper or plain card, it would shout out a little bit more. But it sort of gives that movement like the one I did yesterday, which I've now put somewhere so safe I can't find it. Okay, so the other option we have is to add those that leaf image. So I think I'm going to, now there's no die cut for this, so what I'm going to do is ink up this main part of the leaf, not this little extension. If you remember, if you were with me yesterday, it's sort of got a leaf and a half, and I really only want that part of the leaf. So I'm going to be brave and do it in early espresso, and I just want to do it as a background behind these flowers here. So what I'm going to do, I am going to move the flowers, but just ink up that element. Now I can see it's on a little bit of that edge, but I'm really not too worried about that, because I'm going to sort of tuck them in here. What I didn't want is this funny little stalk. So there's one like that, just to sort of ground them onto there, like so, and I put maybe one up here and one down here. So make your stamps work for you. If you don't like an element of it, if you really didn't like that, you could just literally cut it off. You know, if you were never going to use it, then you can actually cut it off. There we go, and then one more. Oops, I did smudge that a little bit, but it's going to be covered in here anyway. I'll put another one there, up here. So they're just background leaves to place under the flowers, like so. What do you reckon? Do you think that works? Let me have a look for any comments. Hey Tracy. Yes, it's weird, Kerry, isn't it? So Kerry's they're going into their sort of winter, and here we are in baking heat in the UK, which is quite unusual. So I've got the dots across here and here. I could put some more here, but I quite like the crispness of this here on the right hand side. So these are going to go on, I think, 1 flat and 2 with dimensionals. And I think I might make this my coffee and card this week. Although I did florals last week, and I do like to sort of alternate. So we'll see. So just adding a little bit of wet glue to this one. Up in here. And obviously we've got the colour coordination, which Stampin' Up are so good at. Could bring that one, yes, down like that, I think. So this one is going to have just 1 dimensional, and you could use your bone folder to soften this edge. So you could either have the edges curling down, or what I might do is have them curling up a little bit. So just running it between my thumb and my bone folder, like you would curling ribbon. So let's put this one here. So it just gives it a little bit of interest. And then this one here, and I'm just going to have that coming down over this edge so it links it all together, so you've got a sort of a pathway through. So I'll say, not my original idea for the layout. As I say, that came from a lovely lady called Cindy Elam. I do apologise, Cindy, for mispronouncing your name, no doubt. Okay, so let's tuck this under there a little bit, like so. And I think, so we've got some pale papaya jewels here, but I do think that my some of my favourite sequins would look good. So let me just dig these out. I really must find a better way of organising these. If anybody has a good way of doing it. So I'm thinking those ones there from our sequins. Yes, definitely these ones. So this is the pale papaya here from the In Colour Jewels. But I think with this Mango Melody, I can take it a little bit darker. So You could put them in the centers, but I think I'm just going to do 1, 2, and 3. Let's put that one in the center. There we go. What do you reckon? I hope you like that. So I think I'm going to do a polished pink version. So it will be, I could do it with this flower. No, I'm going to do it with these again because I just like that layer. This is a bit thin to take it on that way. This would work that way round. But I'm going to do, I like that so much, I'm going to do another one. So let me find my scallop and my card. So if you've seen this one and you need to dash off, then no worries. Thank you very much. I might try and do this one. Let's turn that one over. I do love this stitching around the edges. And you could easily put some ribbon, because obviously we have our in colour ribbon to match this as well. So maybe on this one I'll add a little bit of ribbon if it's 2 hands. And the other thing you can do, obviously, is you could layer these here. So if I had my other ones cut, that would be lovely to have a full scallop border. I did that with some rainbow colours a little while ago with the different border, and that looked really nice. So let's attach this. Let me see who's here. Hello, Jane. It's not too floral. Thank you. Hey, Babsy. Oh, Katie's got a bottle of water. Well done, Katie. So this one I'm going to do on the other side so that I've got that pretty little checker design. So I'm adding glue, not to the very edge on the edges on the left and right, because I'm going to trim a little bit of that off like I did before. As I say, what you could do is cut it to size first if you prefer. Let's turn this over. It's got a little sort of mark going on there. So just taking this right to the very top and then moving along a little bit until I can see where that layer is going to go, because I want it central obviously on here with the 2 little notches. This time I'll just cut along the side with the scissors. This is a little bit more even on either side, as you can see. But always cut from the reverse side and lean your scissors against the edge of your card, and that stops you cutting into the card. Having said that, that looks really uneven. Plan B, I'm going to cut it with my trimmer. Just going to open this up. That's definitely wonky, wasn't it? There we go. I'm going to do the same with this side. There we go. We can't have wonky edges, for sure. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to do the same sentiment, I think, but this time I might actually stamp this in polished pink. I think it might be a little overkill. Let's be brave. Just wipe this down, make sure it's clean from my early espresso. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp this. Hope that's still all in view for you if viewers. Yep, let's go for it. There we are. And this time I'm going to stamp pink edges with the polished pink and then do a lighter pink inside rather than the espresso. And again, because I've marked my stamp, I'm going to stamp these all in the same direction with my dot at the bottom. So I'm just wondering, I could do this and stamp it off actually for the inside. Let's have a look and see. That really will make this monochrome, won't it? Yeah. So I'm going to stamp it off and then stamp it onto my image. There we go. So we've got 3 that are all in polished pink. I'm going to leave that open because I'm going to use the dots again. What colour centres? Yellow again? Let's have a look and see. It works, doesn't it really? So this is Mango Melody. I'm just being lazy, not choosing another colour. It almost looks like a chrysanthemum, like that, doesn't it? Okay, I'm going to die cut those in a second. And let's add some dots on here, or dottage as Ruth would call it. I'm going to stamp this off again because I don't want them to overtake on the white, but I'm going to put them full strength on here. Lots of dots. And I might leave the leaves out because on here I've got the early espresso for the outline. I might leave the leaves out. We'll have a look and see what it looks like. Let me see what's going. Thanks, Jeanette. Hi, Jane, and hi, Claire. Thanks for joining us today. So these are my flowers for this one here. So I'm going to cut these out with the die. Just move this out of the way. And when I said to you, I'll put the die there so it's safe. Where do you think I put it? Can somebody rewind? See where I put the die? There it is. Oh dear. Okay, so I'm just going to trim this piece off here so it fits through. There we go, like that. Okay, so I'm going to pop it through my die cutting machine. This is the bottom. This is where my dot is, so I know that that goes around that edge like that. Okay, so just pop that through. I won't lift this up as you've seen me do this before. There's one. There's that one there. So go here, dogs barking, phone ringing. 2. Go. And 3. Oops, that moved. Normally I would put a little bit of magic tape or masking tape on there to hold it. But I can't just see it in front of me, so okay, 3 sets of flowers, 1 die. Just going to pop it back in there for the minute. Okay, so this is very floral in comparison. But so you could obviously have 3 flowers like that in a line. However, that's not particularly natural, is it? So I want to tuck this one underneath because obviously the die cut went off very slightly on there, so I want to sort of camouflage that slightly. And maybe on this one I will add some ribbon, and I have the matching ribbon for this, polished pink. Go. So that's the matching one. Obviously I could also pick up the orange here, so maybe what I'll do is just a sort of loop of ribbon for this instead. So what I'm going to do is put some glue here. This is nice and strong glue, and then put our ribbon on like that and loop it, and then loop it again like that. And then let's see how that will work. I might need to make the loops a bit bigger or cut them. Need to make them bigger. So on there, and let's do that. See what that looks like, and then just going to work these around. If this looks too busy, then I might take those ribbons off and just put a little edge of ribbon. Yeah, that's oh dear. Okay, plan B. Let's just flatten that ribbon like so. That's better. Okay, so I'm going to pop this one on with some wet glue here, and this is the one I want to sort of hide a little bit. Like so. I could have used some seal, to be honest, that would have worked as well, but this will do the job. Just need to hold it for a little bit longer. Let's have a look. Do you know, I think I'm going to trim that there, because that extra bit doesn't, it's beginning to look a bit crowded for my liking. There we go, that's better. I will get there in the end. That's the good thing about wet glue, is you can pick it up and replace it within, you know, a short amount of time. It's not happy with the way that, maybe it's because it's flat, maybe I need to lift that up on dimensionals. Let's do that and see. Sorry, this is a little bit boring for you once I've done that. Let's try that and that, and then we'll be done. Yep, that will work. Right, 2, 3. There we go. So slightly different. It does feel a bit more squashed up, and that's because I haven't got as much area down here. Let's just wiggle this down a little bit. There we go. Okay, we got there in the end. So there's that one in polished pink. So that is almost all polished pink with a little bit of Mango Melody. And then this one is pale papaya with early espresso and a little bit of Mango Melody. So let me know which one you prefer. I might add a few more dots just in here. So I'd love to know which one you prefer. Just going to add this on here. That's it. There we go. That's better. It sort of spreads it out a bit rather than feeling it's all pushed into one corner. So there we go. So I'll decorate the envelopes as well, and the inside, but those are our 2 cards for today. So same layout, using the Scallop Contours dies and the Colour and Contour stamp set. You can buy both of those together at a discount of 10%, and you can order obviously on my online shop, or you can email me an order. As long as you're based in the UK, then I can process that for you. So thank you for joining me today. Let me have a look and see. Kerry says it's not boring. Thank you, Kerry, you're so kind. So it's time for my drink. Actually, I think I'm going to start with a coffee followed by a cold drink. Yes, I think I prefer the first one, and I think it's because it's balanced with the colour, whereas this is, you know, all one colour. But you know, if you like pink, then it's perfect, isn't it? So thank you so much. Thanks, Lynn. I really appreciate everybody joining me today. I hope you have a good day, afternoon, evening, depending on when you're watching this. If you're watching on catch up or replay, either on Facebook or on our YouTube channel, if you have any questions, don't hesitate just to comment on there, and I do monitor those. And if you need a response or any assistance, don't hesitate to do that, and I will get back to you. Thank you so much for your company today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care and look after yourselves, look after your loved ones, and I hope to be crafting with you again really soon. Thanks for watching today. Take care and bye for now.